Imagine waking up every day, inside the same walls, the same rooms, the same windows, the same view, day after day, year after year. Now imagine that beyond those walls, there's an entire world you've never experienced. Birds flying overhead, leaves moving in the wind, new smells, new sounds, new places, but no matter how close they seem, you never get to explore them. For millions of cats around the world, that isn't imagination, it's reality. Many cats spend their entire lives indoors, never stepping outside, never climbing a tree, never chasing something beyond the limits of their home. And that raises an important question. What actually happens to a cat that never goes outside? Does it live a safer life? A happier life? Or is it missing something essential? The answer is far more complicated than most people think, because while indoor cats avoid many dangers, they also experience the world in a very different way, and understanding that difference might completely change how you see your cat's life. When people talk about indoor cats, they're usually referring to cats that spend their entire lives inside a home. No unsupervised outdoor access, no wandering through the neighborhood, no exploring beyond the boundaries of their house or apartment. For many owners, this choice feels completely natural. After all, the outside world can be dangerous. Cars, diseases, toxic substances, aggressive animals, and countless risks that indoor cats never have to face. That's one reason why indoor living has become increasingly common in many parts of the world, especially in cities. For many cats, home becomes their entire universe. Every room, every hallway, every piece of furniture, every window. Together, these spaces form the territory they know and understand. And here's something important to remember. Cats don't experience territory the same way humans experience a house. To us, a home is simply where we live. To a cat, it's a complex map of familiar routes, safe zones, resting places, observation points, hiding spots, and scent markers. Over time, an indoor cat learns every detail of that environment. It knows where the sunlight appears in the morning, which chair is warmest in the afternoon, which window offers the best view of the outside world, and where it feels safest when it wants to be alone. In many ways, an indoor cat can become incredibly comfortable in its environment. But comfort is only one part of the story, because even though the walls provide safety, they also create limits, and those limits affect the way a cat experiences the world. If you ask most veterinarians, what is the biggest advantage of keeping a cat indoors? The answer is usually immediate: safety. And it's not difficult to understand why. The outside world is full of things a cat simply can't predict. Busy roads, loose dogs, wild animals, dangerous plants, parasites, diseases. Even well-meaning people can accidentally put a cat at risk. For an outdoor cat, every trip outside comes with uncertainty. An indoor cat rarely has to face those dangers. And because of that, indoor cats often live longer than cats that spend a lot of time roaming outdoors, not because staying inside somehow makes their bodies stronger, but because they're exposed to far fewer life-threatening risks. That single difference changes almost everything. Instead of spending energy avoiding danger, an indoor cat can focus on something else: resting, playing, exploring its familiar territory, watching the outside world safely through a window. For many cats, that's more than enough. In fact, some cats show very little interest in going outside at all, especially if they've lived indoors since they were kittens. The house is the only world they've ever known, and because cats naturally adapt to familiar environments, that world often feels completely normal to them. But here's where many people make a mistake. They assume that because a cat is safe, it must automatically be fully satisfied. Safety and fulfillment are not exactly the same thing. A cat can be protected from danger while still having natural instincts that need an outlet. Those instincts don't disappear simply because the front door stays closed. A cat that has never hunted still carries the instincts of a hunter. A cat that has never climbed a tree still enjoys climbing. A cat that has never explored a forest still loves discovering something new. Those behaviors are deeply rooted in what cats are, which leads us to one of the most misunderstood parts of indoor life. Living indoors doesn't remove a cat's instincts. It simply changes the way those instincts are expressed. And that's where things become truly fascinating. Here's something many people don't realize. Your cat doesn't know it's an indoor cat. It doesn't wake up every morning thinking, I live inside a house. It simply experiences the environment that's available to it. And inside that environment, its instincts are still exactly the same. Thousands of years of evolution didn't disappear just because your cat sleeps on a sofa instead of under a tree. At heart, your cat is still an explorer, still an observer, still a hunter. Every day, those instincts quietly shape the way it moves through your home. Think about how your cat approaches a new cardboard box. It doesn't ignore it. It investigates it slowly, carefully. It walks around it, sniffs every corner, looks inside before stepping in. Not because the box is special, but because exploring unfamiliar things is part of being a cat. The exact same instinct appears when your cat jumps onto a high shelf, looks out of a window for 20 minutes, or spends several minutes watching a tiny insect moving across the floor. To us, those moments may seem insignificant. To a cat, they're opportunities to gather information. Because cats are naturally curious animals, their brains are constantly processing movement, sounds, smells, changes in their surroundings. Even a small object that's been moved to a different place can attract their attention. That's why environmental enrichment is so important for indoor cats. Not because they're bored every minute of the day, but because their minds are designed to interact with the world around them without opportunities to climb, observe, investigate, or play. An indoor environment can slowly become too predictable, and when everything becomes predictable, curiosity has fewer opportunities to work. That doesn't mean every indoor cat becomes unhappy. Far from it. Many indoor cats live incredibly relaxed and fulfilling lives. But the difference often comes down to one simple question. Does their home allow them to behave like a cat? Because happiness isn't measured by square meters. It's measured by opportunities to climb, to scratch, to hide, to watch, to chase, to explore. And those opportunities can exist, even without ever opening the front door. If an indoor cat can live a perfectly happy life, why do some of them develop behavioral problems? The answer isn't simply because they're indoors. It's because sometimes their natural behaviors don't have an outlet. Imagine being built to climb, but having nowhere to climb. Built to hunt, but never chasing anything. Built to explore, but experiencing the exact same environment every single day. Eventually, some cats begin creating their own activities, and that's when owners often notice behaviors they don't understand. Suddenly, the cat starts running through the house at 2 o'clock in the morning. It scratches the furniture, even though it already has a scratching post. It knocks objects off shelves. It meows more than usual, or constantly follows its owner from room to room. Many people see these behaviors as bad habits, but very often, they're simply a cat trying to satisfy needs that haven't completely disappeared. Take hunting, for example. Your indoor cat doesn't need to catch mice to survive, but its brain still enjoys the sequence of hunting, watching, stalking, chasing, pouncing, catching. That's exactly why a feather wand can be so exciting. To us, it's just a toy. To your cat, it's an opportunity to complete one of the most natural behaviors it has. The same is true for climbing. Cats naturally prefer elevated places, not because they want to dominate your home, but because high places offer safety, a better view, and more control over their surroundings. Without shelves, cat trees, or elevated resting spots, many cats simply climb whatever is available. Bookshelves, kitchen counters, wardrobes, not because they're being disobedient, but because they're following instincts that have existed for thousands of years. The important thing to understand is this: an indoor lifestyle doesn't remove your cat's instincts. It simply places the responsibility on us to provide healthy ways for those instincts to be expressed, because the happiest indoor cats usually aren't the ones with the biggest homes, they're the ones living in homes designed with cats in mind. So, can a cat live its entire life indoors and still be truly happy? The short answer is yes. But there's an important condition. A house should never be just a place where a cat exists. It should be a place where a cat can behave like a cat. Because happiness isn't measured by how many rooms your home has. It's measured by opportunities. Opportunities to climb, to observe, to scratch, to play, to hide, to explore, to rest without feeling threatened. A cat doesn't need a forest to satisfy its instincts, but it does need an environment that keeps both its body and its mind active. Think about it this way. For your cat, a simple cardboard box isn't just a box, it's a hiding place, a lookout, a safe space, a mystery waiting to be explored. The same goes for a window. To us, it's just a window. To a cat, it's an endless source of movement, birds, leaves, rain, people, insects. The outside world continues to stimulate its curiosity, even from inside the house. That's why many feline behavior specialists recommend creating what they call an enriched environment. Not because indoor cats are unhappy, but because they thrive when they're given opportunities to express natural behaviors every single day. Sometimes, the smallest changes make the biggest difference. A new climbing shelf, a food puzzle, a daily play session, a different sleeping spot, rotating toys every few days, simple things. But from your cat's perspective, they can transform an ordinary day into something worth exploring. And perhaps that's the biggest lesson of all. Keeping a cat indoors isn't simply about protecting it from danger. It's about replacing the experiences it would naturally seek with safe opportunities inside your home. The question was never, is an indoor life good or bad? The real question is much simpler. What kind of life are we creating for our cats? A cat doesn't judge its life by whether there's a garden outside or a street beyond the front door. It experiences life through safety, routine, curiosity, comfort, and the freedom to express the instincts that make it a cat. Some cats spend their entire lives indoors and live long, healthy, deeply fulfilling lives. Others may need more stimulation, more opportunities to climb, to play, to explore. Every cat is different, but they all share the same instinctive nature. And the more we understand that nature, the better we can care for them. So the next time you see your cat quietly watching birds through the window, or climbing to the highest shelf in the house, remember this: your cat isn't dreaming of becoming something different. It's simply doing what cats have always done, exploring the world in whatever space they call home. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new about your feline companion, don't forget to subscribe to Feline Mind, because the better we understand our cats, the better life becomes for both of us.